Hello. I thought I'd stop by and do a really quick video. I've got a card to make. I'm actually making this for Jean from Crafty Individuals. So I won't be able to post this until she's obviously received it. Sorry, I'm just moving the cord from my phone out the way. Yeah, so I won't be able to post this video until she's received the card. Now I have done a card very, very similar to this some time ago now actually, but I thought I'd do it again. I'm going to be using the gorgeous bluebells, which was one that was actually designed by Jean. It's called Counting Bluebells, so CI 572. I'm also going to be using the little bumblebee off of CI 488. Of course, the grasses are an absolutely must, so CI 207. I'm not sure if I'm going to use this one yet or not. I will sort of decide a little bit later in the video. So CI 116, and finally CI 436, my most used stamp. You've seen me use this one so many times before now. Now, all these stamps are currently at 35% off, along with anything else that's currently on the website. If you do want any of these, I'd go grab them quick, because it won't be long now before Crafty Individuals do close. I'm not sure when it'll all be happening yet, but I know they are running very low on red rubber. So if you do want any stamps, I'd grab them while you can. I am quite gutted that they're closing. I think their stamps are absolutely gorgeous. You know, detail's amazing, and yeah, I just love them. I've been part of the design team for about the last 4 years now, so yeah, it's a bit sad, but I do have a new adventure coming up very soon that I'm sure I'll be talking to you about at some stage. Anyway, let's get going. Now, I haven't actually pulled everything out that I'm going to need for this, so I'm not actually that organised. I don't seem to be very organised when I do these videos, so you'll have to just kind of bear with me a little bit with them. I have got some stuff out. So I've cut a piece of card here. I'm going to be working on a 5x7 card base. So this is about about 10 centimeters by about 14. So this is going to be my topper with the bluebells. I'm going to grab my embossing powder. So I've just mounted this onto a clear block, and I'm just going to ink it up with some VersaFine Clear. Now, I have actually cut this stamp apart a little bit. It was a bit naughty. I'm just going to get rid of that inked area there. I have a feeling that's going to leave a mark on the card when I come to stamp it. Yeah, so I have cut it about a little bit. There was some counting down numbers on it, but I have cut it down. So I'm just going to stamp this in the middle here. Now, I must apologise if you can hear the noise in the background. It has just started raining. Because I'm working in the conservatory, you might hear it a little bit in the background. Luckily, it's not too heavy at the moment. It's been a pretty miserable day again today. It's just not stopped raining, sort of on and off, with just little short breaks in between. I'm using my little Baron tool here. Wouldn't be without that. Definitely need one of them. Right, that's actually stamped lovely. I'm just going to grab some paper for my embossing powder. So I've just noticed I've got a bit of a mark on the edge there, but I'm not too worried about that. Luckily, it should hopefully be covered up with some ink. Just give that a bit of a flick. So I'm using the Wow Ultrafine Clear Embossing Powder here. Just tip that back in the pot. And I'm just going to emboss this with the heat gun. I'm using the Ranger heat gun here. I think it's a great little heat gun as it's nice and quiet. It's great for when you're doing videos and doing lives and stuff. I said I used to sort of, when I've done videos in the past, I have sort of edited this bit out and fast forwarded it and played some music and stuff. But I just find that you seem to spend so much time editing that I decided not to do that anymore. I'm just going to go with it and just ramble on all the way through it, so you've got to hear me instead, unfortunately. It sounds like that rain's coming down a little bit harder now. Hopefully you'll still be able to hear me. Right, I'm going to use a bit of a mixture of oxides and inks. I really wanted the tea dye, but I've just noticed that I don't have the tea dye in the oxides. I'll move that down a bit so you can see. So I am going to have to, I'm sure I'll be getting online very soon to order one of them. Right, I'm just looking for my brush. I'll find it. Right, let's get that scrap paper again and try and get rid of some of the ink on that. Right, so I'm just going to carefully, in the background, I only want a little bit of ink on my brush. So I'm just going to go over in the background. I wanted a bit of purple in the background on for the topper. So I'd normally mask this off, but I'm not too worried at the moment. I'm just going over it. I'm just going to colour it in. Because it's a similar colour to the bluebells, it doesn't really matter. And see, I'm dabbing off quite as much ink as I can before I go in with the brush. I'm just going to clear that off just so I don't start mixing all the colours up. Put that brush away. Right, I'm now going to go in with some tea dye. As I said, I'm using the ink rather than the oxide. If I had the oxide, I would use that. You can really hear the rain coming down now. I actually love sitting out here some days when it's raining. It's such a lovely sound. Right, that's not actually coming out. I think my ink pad might be a little bit dry. So I might actually go with the brown oxide. Just look for my brown brush. Which I think is that one. Yeah, it's actually really nice sitting out here, especially of an evening when you're crafting. Oh, that's better. Right, so I'm now using Gathered Twigs oxide ink. Yeah, it's so lovely sitting out here of an evening crafting when it's raining. Yeah, I just love hearing the rain on the roof. But it is a little bit frustrating, you know, when you're trying to record a video or whatever. I think I've put an inky finger mark there, but again, I'm not too worried about that because I can cover that up in a little while. So you can see it's sort of, there's a little bit of lilac there. Hope you can see that okay. The lighting isn't great in here at the moment. I did, before I started recording, put the lights on because I thought it is just about starting to get dark now. so looking forward to when it starts, you know, when it gets lighter. Right, I'm now going to see, these are the little bits that I used, that I cut off the stamp, but I do want to still include them. You know what, I'm just going to hold this up actually on my card, because, do you know, I might actually cut that down a bit. I think I am going to trim that down a bit on the sides so that you can see some of the background. Sorry, like I said, I haven't actually measured this out or anything. I just sort of pushed the record button. Right, let me grab my brush back out again. So I'm just going to darken those edges again, just so it doesn't look too odd. So these brushes that I'm using are the Royal, is it Lanical? Oh, I can never remember what they're called. Mum always usually corrects me on what ones there are. Right, where's the packet gone? So I'm just going to use the packet, because I said this is what the stamp should look like with all the bits on. I said I sort of cut them off because I liked being able to use just the bluebell on its own. But they're quite easy just to sort of stamp in place again. Now I'm going for quite a light colour. Just trying to see what way up it goes. That's that way, isn't it? Right, push down. I might actually use... I might stamp it on on my scrap paper a minute, just to see how sort of dark that's going to be against that. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for that colour. So I'm going to stamp in the gathered twigs, and I am stamping it the right way up, aren't I? And I'm just guessing sort of roughly where it would have been. Obviously, if you wanted to, you could sort of just put some more foliage and stuff around it. But for this, I am going to just stamp them in. I didn't want to stamp them in black. So I am going for the sort of, you know, the brown. Just because it's a nice lighter colour. Right, where was this one? So this one goes on the bottom. Right, again, do you know what? I'm just going to have my paper at hand just to make sure that I'm stamping it the right way up. No, look, I would have stamped that upside down. It's a good job I checked. Yep, that's right. So and go about there, I think. There you go. Wipe that clean, and then this one's the next one. Oh, this one goes at the top. Again, I'm just going to stamp it on my paper just to make sure that I've got it the right way. Knowing me, I'd probably would stamp it upside down. Stamped that a bit wonky, haven't I? I'm not too worried. When I come to do some texture in a minute, hopefully that'll sort of cover that up a bit. Right, and again, this one. So I'll just add that about there. Hopefully I'm still working on camera. I might grab this first one back again, because I might sort of stamp it. Do I want to stamp it up there? Yeah, I might stamp little bits of it. Just to sort of fill in some more areas. Perhaps up here. Even here. I guess this is the joy of this stamp. You can just sort of move it around and play. Just stamp a section of that sort of there. I've lost my thing. Right. Pop that back in there because I don't want to lose any of them stamps. Right, what I might now do is grab my, oh no, I was going to use the crackle. Grab that. I might go for a slightly different colour and use, would it be nice to use the purple even? Right, I think I'll go with the antique linen. So I'm not even going to mount this stamp, I often don't. I'm just going to go in, it just adds a little bit of texture. Just randomly kind of going for it really. Where else? Might maybe do a little bit of shaded lilac stamping on that. Just to bring in the colour a bit more. Oh yeah, that's quite nice. Where else? Maybe down here. So I'm just randomly stamping it. But try to do it so that you know, you're kind of opposites, just to sort of balance it out a little. Maybe do a bit more there and a bit there. I think I'll leave that like that. Put that back in the packet. Right, I might actually stamp one of the bumblebees on this as well. I'll do that now before I start colouring in. Ooh, don't know what that was. I really love this tiny little bee. So this was from the set CI 488. It's a really cute little bee. So I'm stamping this in black. I think I'll go about there. And maybe one just here too. Yeah, I think I'll leave it at just the two. Or I don't know, things always look better with threes, don't they? I think it's just going to look a little bit busy if I stamp another one with all that texture in the background. So I might maybe leave that. I'll clean that up and pop that back in the packet before I lose it. And I'm now just going to emboss those bumblebees. Probably should have stamped them first really, so that I could stamp around it, but I haven't, so. Right, so I'm just going to emboss them again. Right, I'm now going to grab my pens that I'm going to use. Now I'm going to have to figure out what colours to use on this, because bluebell, I think that's got to be a must, isn't it? I'm going to keep my paper there. I might find a nice blue to pop with that bluebell, just to sort of darken it up a little, you know, to add some dimension to the bluebells. What colour do I want? I can't find quite the right colour. I think that's quite right. I think that's going to be a bit on the dark side. Yeah, I think so. I haven't used some of these colours for a little while. I think sometimes you sort of forget, don't you, what the colours look like. I want more of a bluey. Right, no, let's try purple. I think maybe we'll just add a different purple with it. Not quite right, but it's fine. Right, I'm just looking for my greens now. I usually try and pick sort of two colours at least to use. They are different, aren't they? Forest green and pine, yeah, and a yellow for the bumblebee. Right, I think we'll colour the bumblebees in first. There we go. And then I'm just going to add sort of the darkest green first. It is quite a quick stamp, this one, to kind of colour in. There isn't a great deal to it, but it is such a gorgeous image. It's one that I've actually not used for some time now. Goodness, that rain's coming down a lot harder now. I don't know if you can all hear it in the background. Right, so I'm now using forest green just to add some lighter areas to those leaves and to the stem. Right, there we go. Right, now for the bluebells, I'm going in with the darker colour first, perhaps just at the tip, and then come down and add, so when I say the tip I mean sort of the base of the flower, sorry, and then sort of in the centre a little, and again on all these little bud. So I'm just starting at the top. I hope you can see okay and I'm not working in my own shadow. It has got quite dark now. Right. Like I said, it's a nice simple image to colour. There really isn't a lot to it. So I'm just using the bluebell now just to colour in those tips of the petals. It's really strange just recording videos and actually not doing a live. I think I've got so used to doing the lives now that it seems really bizarre not having sort of comments and things to read while I'm you know, while I'm talking and stuff, or not talking, you know what I mean. Right, and that's more or less that finished. So you could also add some little white highlights, sort of the bluebells. It's quite nice. I think sometimes that really finishes it off, doesn't it, adding the highlights on. So just pick out little areas. I know you should really pick out where you think the light's going to hit it, but sometimes it's nice just to pick out little points. So come back to this one. I think that needs a bit more there. Right, and there we go. I'll leave it that, and maybe add just a bit of white to the leaves. Right, And there we have it. I might just add a little bit of, if I can find it, a bit of iridescent to the wings on the bees. Now I love this stuff. So it's iridescent medium by Winsor & Newton. I'll give it a bit of a shake and see if I've got a paintbrush at hand. Right, I think I'm just going to have to lean across and grab a brush out from behind the camera. So I've got a very diddy brush here. So I'm just literally going to go straight in and pick a tiny bit up and paint it on the wings. Now you're not really going to see this on the camera because it is just such a faint little sparkle. But I think it really finishes it off lovely. I'll see if I can hold that up. I don't know if you will be able to see it or not in this light. But anyway, it gives a lovely little sparkle. I think I've just dripped a little bit there, but I'm not too worried. Now, finally for this piece, I'm going to grab my little scoring tool. So I have one of these. Not actually sure who makes it. I've had it in my stash for quite some time now. Going to wipe my fingers off a little because still got some iridescent medium on. So I'm going to go for quite a deep one and just going to literally score away. So to really rough them edges up. Just work the tool sort of backwards and forwards. Can't actually remember the name of this. Somebody might be I might be able to look it up and perhaps pop a link in the description box or something once I've found what they're called and who makes them. I think probably there's quite a few different makes of them, so it takes a little bit of a while to go around all the edges. I'm trying to do it as well without sort of bending the card too much. It does make a bit of a mess as well, this. Right, there we go. I might just get rid of this now. I'll hoover that up in a little while. I need to have a hoover in here. I'm now just going to go in with some gathered twigs and sort of darken that up a little bit now. Hope you can all hear me over the rain. As I said, it is really coming down quite hard now. Right, what I might also do is grab some gilding wax, if I can find it. Yeah. So this is, yeah, just gold gilding wax. I don't know if you can buy this make anymore, but there are lots of makes out there that still do this. I'm only grabbing a tiny little bit on my finger and just running it along that rough edge. And it just gives a really subtle gold finish. It's lovely. I said you really don't need a huge amount on your finger, just a really light smear. A little of this stuff does go a really long way. And I can't remember if I've done that bottom bit or not. No, I haven't. Right, there we go. Right, I'm just going to clean this mess up. And we can now start on the background. So that's the top piece finished. So I'll grab my base piece, and I think I'm just going to go actually I might use some of the antique linen, so I'll grab this brush. So I'm starting off with the antique linen here. I'm not going to go right into the centre, there's no need, because obviously the top is going to be there. Yeah, you'll see that I've sort of left the middle section. Actually, what I might do before I forget, I'll do that in a second, I'm going to mark up, it looks like I'm losing a few bristles there. I'm going to mark up where my top is going to sit, so it will just make stamping a little bit easier. Right, so I'm going back in with the gathered twigs now around the edge. So I'm going for a bit of a vintage feel with this card. I really love the effect when using these brushes. I did used to use them, these ones. I think most people have these ones in their stash now, don't they? But I've gone back to using these brushes. I bought a few so many years ago at the craft event at Alexandra Palace. And I think I bought a pack of 3 of them. And I never used them. And then I thought, oh, I'm going to give them a try again. And yeah, I absolutely love them. I don't know why I didn't use them. Right, so I'm just popping this in place just to kind of see roughly where it's going to sit. And then I'm using a pencil just to mark out each of the corners, just as a guide really for stamping. So I'm trying to mark sort of just underneath, so that I'm not going to have any pencil marks showing once I come to sticking it all down. Right, so now I think I'm going to stamp my bumblebees first. Where are we? There we go. So I'm obviously stamping those in black. So I'm just going to randomly kind of stamp them around the edge. Where else should we go? Should we go for another one up here? I think we'll go for another one there. Just because, why not? Right. Ooh. I can't think where my thing is. There it is. I'm now going to go in with some grasses. Oh, actually, I might just emboss them because I'm going to colour these in. I'm going to emboss them really quickly. The grasses I'm not going to bother with embossing. It's literally just these, because I'm using alcohol markers to colour them in with. You know, I prefer embossing when it comes to using alcohol markers. There we go. Right, I'm now just going to grab some different coloured VersaFine Clairs. Should have a nice dark brown wherever that's gone. Let's try those three. So I have Portobello, Shady Lane and Sand Dune. So I'm just going to sort of grab some of these leaves out, grasses out. So it's CI 207. And I'm just going to sort of randomly stamp some of them in different coloured ink pads. I will also add a few black ones just to add a bit of, you know, depth into the in there. So that's that one. Clean that off. Let's try this one now. I might go for this darker brown now because that one isn't that. Ooh, I have a feeling this one's going to play up. Right, I'm not going to bother mounting that one because it's it obviously needs rebacking. So I'm just going to go in and sort of randomly stamp it. Don't worry about it sort of floating. I will do something about that in just a moment. What one should we go for next? Perhaps that one. Oh, some of these do not want to stay stuck on my block, do they? Oh, no. Again, I think I'll just hold on to that one and just randomly stamp it. Right, what one haven't we used yet? Or maybe go in for this little one down here. I might stamp that in some black. Where's my black gone? There it is. Hopefully this one behaves. Yeah. So I'm just stamping some of them up the side as well. I think maybe we'll go for some ferns now. I do love the ferns. They are so useful. I think this stamp's going to play up as well. But I think these ones, I've used them so much that the foam mount just isn't sticking anymore. Another fern up here. So you can just keep adding different bits until you're sort of happy with the way your scenery looks. And I think, do I need any more? I think I've used most of them. I might add a couple of little black ferns. Just again, just to sort of add some dimension. I'll stamp them out sort of a few times in different places. I love playing about with grasses. I do think they are a must in your collection. Again, it's one of them very useful stamps that just sort of goes with everything. Right, I think we'll leave it at that. I'm going to pop all these stamps back in the packet, otherwise I'll end up losing them. Right, now I'm going to grab my inky script, which is CI436. Again, I say this every time I use it, it's a must-have. I'm just going to clean it off because I have a habit of using this one and not cleaning it. And because I want a nice subtle light colour in the background, you know, I'd rather clean it first. Right, I think I'll use sand dune for this. Again, I'm not going to mount it, I'm just going to go straight in and just stamp bits of it around the edge. It's just a really nice sort of subtle it's a filler, isn't it? One of them filler stamps. Can you call it that? I'm going to call it that anyway. It's a must-have. Right, so let me colour them bumblebees in. Oh, the rain stopped and we've actually now got some sunshine. Can you believe it? I think this weather is just insane at the moment. Right, so that's them coloured in. And again, I think I'll add some of the shimmer to the wings. Where did I put it? I've thrown it down somewhere and now I can't see it. Did I put it back in the drawer? No. Oh, there it is. So this is just using the iridescent medium again. I did say that I was going to use this stuff in a live on the Crafty Individuals page, but I just haven't got around to it at the moment. But it is such great stuff. You can kind of water it down a little bit if you need to. I usually pop a little bit on a pot, but I'm only using such a small amount of it at the moment. But you can paint over it, you can use it in watercolouring, you can use it over your pro markers, you can sort of do some splats with it. It's just fab. I said I've had this, oh gosh, I think I bought this from the from an art shop in London so many years ago. Oh, I'm trying to think. It's got to be probably at least 20 years old, this, and I've only used such a small amount out of it. Yeah, I think it'll be going for some time yet. Right, I'm going to go in again with the gold wax, and I'm just going to go around the edges again, just kind of flick my finger around the edge. Just to add a bit of gold. It is lovely stuff. It doesn't smell very nice. I don't think the proper gilding wax does it? It's has a very strong smell to it. I guess it's not right unpleasant. There's things that do smell worse, isn't there? Let's face it. But yeah, maybe I'll leave it. No, I will hold it up. It's better to have too much there. Let's space that out a bit, and then I'll go back in and spread it around. Alright, I think that will do. Right, just get rid of them. Whoops, look. Right, where's my really messy rag? Here we go. I should be using this one. I usually have one for cleaning stamps and one for cleaning my mat with. I'll have to clean that off properly later on. Right, I'm now going to stick this all down. I'm actually just going to clean that off my finger because, let's face it, it's asking for trouble, isn't it? I don't really want it on anything else. Right, so yeah, I'm just going to mount this onto my card blank. Now, I'm not going to mount it onto anything. I'm just going to leave it at that. Sometimes I do prefer just to leave them as they are. Right, where's my glue? Here it is. So I'm using cloud glue to stick it down. It's one of my favourite glues because it has got quite a nice lot of wiggle room for when you know when you're trying to sort of get it in the right place and everything. But I do not recommend that glue if you're sticking down intricate things, just because it is quite sort of a bit of a stringy glue. Right, just hold it down in place for a second, and I'm going to grab my topper now, and hopefully that sort of sits in. Do you know what, I'm actually thinking that does need a bit of a lift. I wonder if I can find some brown card really quickly. Well, that was nice and easy. I do feel that's sort of getting a bit lost. I might actually mount that. Let's see what that looks like. I'll just grab my trimmer out really quick. And to slide off my desk chair there, so I don't know what card this is. It's really lovely actually. It's kind of ribbed. Don't know where I got it from. It's obviously been in my stash for some time. Alright, I only want such a thin border around it. I think I've moved that. Yes, I did. Yeah, so I only want such a thin border around that edge. That might still be too much. Let me cut the bottom and then I'll have a proper look what we've got. Let's have a look. Let's hold it up against the card base. That'd be a better idea, wouldn't it? Right, I think that looks so much better. Right, I might take another slither off the top. Hopefully I don't take too much off. Sometimes I think you do this, don't you? And I think, yeah, just a tiny bit more, tiny bit more. You take another sliver off and then it's too short or too small. Right, I think that will do fine. Just pop that out of the way. Stick that on there. You could also gut it if you wanted, you know, gut the centre of the brown card. I'm not going to do that because it means pulling out my cutting mat, and I can't be bothered to do that. It's sort of tucked away underneath everything at the moment. Right, so I'm just going to stick that down now. I'm going to just hold it up so I can see if I've stuck that down straight. Right, yeah, that looks about right. Yeah, so there we have it. I don't know if you can see now that sun's out, that shimmer on the wings. I'm just going to wiggle it about a little bit. I obviously can't see on the camera myself because it's in the phone holder above, so I can't see whether the camera's picking it up or not. But you can just about see it on here. But yeah, so that's that. I'm sure I'll be back again with another crafty make of some sorts very soon. Said I am trying to record videos sort of once in a while now. But yeah, as I said, these stamps, they are on offer at the moment on the Crafty Individuals website while stocks last. So you'll need to use the big sale code when you check out. And you can get 35% off of anything on their website. Obviously, just bear in mind they are closing down, so that won't be available for very long. But yeah, anyway, thank you for joining me, and I said I hope to be back again very soon with another crafty make. Take care, everyone. Bye.